Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOpsSchools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials on any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com.
The Ansible server should try to SSH on the host, right? Then also some things which I can show you here is yeah, where are your roles located, right? We have not talked about roles yet, but later in the session we will talk about them. So what is your roles path? Roles can be available in etc Ansible roles. This is the default path and you can change it as per your liking, right? Also I would like to show somewhere how. So many times, right now we are working as root users on all our machines, but many times Ansible may not be running as root user. But to perform certain configurations on the target server, like installing a package or restarting a service, it would need root permissions or elevated permissions. So which command to use to provide that elevated permissions, right? So it could be sudo, or there could be some alternatives for sudo. If you want to use them, you can specify those. All right. And yeah, where are the logs located? Well, path is var log ansible.log. And many other things you can specify. Yeah, many things you can specify here. There are a lot of configurations available. I'm just looking for something of importance. Yeah, if you don't want colored output, you can say no color is equal to 1. Right now we are seeing colored output, right? But if you don't want, just say no color is equal to 1. Okay, so there are many configurations like this. And then inventory related configurations, if you want to enable certain plugins. Let me go back here. Yeah, if you want to ignore certain files from your inventory, if you want to enable default sudo default escalation to system level permissions, right? And a lot of things, a lot of configuration, SSH related configurations, right? For example, if you want to enable, for example, always to cache the SSH keys, then you can do that and things like that. Okay, so a lot of configurations are there. If you have your SE Linux implemented, then you know how to you configure your Ansible to go around SE Linux, right? Your color settings, your diff settings, if you are running some diff tools. Okay, so I'm not going to change anything here, but these are some of the configurations that you can look at when you are actually managing your Ansible server.
Just when Ansible changes a configuration, it usually gives the yellow color.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so and if everything is okay, then it gives the green, like green color, And then with modules, is it like Ansible? Like, are those modules installed automatically when you do a yum or apt install of Ansible?
So right now, okay, this file is not populated. So let's connect to this machine here. For example, let's say user share, not here as well. So what happens is when I say Ansible host CentOS -m yum, right? What Ansible tries to do is it connects to this machine and pulls a module called yum. Right, it has its own module called yum. It is written in Python, so it uses Python to pull this module and then uses that module to manage the state of the system.
Yum
Right.
module, yeah. So the Yum module, like that comes with like in CentOS, but is that like that module, like is it pulling from like it's run on Python? Is it pulling from a repo or it's pulling from its shared library where that where the modules exist?
Okay, just give me 1 sec. Okay, it's not generating output here. So I wanted to show you a more verbose output,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not generating here. Just give me 1 second.
But when would like additional modules, would you pull from like Ansible, like Galaxy? Would you pull from? I know you can pull, which we'll get to roles later, which you'll probably explain. You can pull from Ansible Galaxy, but would from like Ansible collections or
Hey viewers, are you looking for formal training on SRE practices? Take our SRE program. This course will teach you how to successfully implement site reliability engineering in the modern day 24/7 services. Kickstart your SRE training today. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
or like or Galaxy? Would you pull additional modules from there?
So the modules are actually installed along
Okay.
with Ansible,
And
right?
oh yeah, that
And
makes sense.
yeah, and then when it runs a particular or when it has to run a particular module on a
Mm-hmm.
particular host, well, it transfers or copies over that module via SSH to this
Mm-hmm.
particular host, and then invokes Python to execute that module.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes absolute sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And go ahead.
No, no, nothing. Please go ahead with your question.
No. Yeah. But it's just that additional. I know that you can fabricate additional modules, but would you also pull additional modules from Ansible or Red Hat?
You can write your own modules. Yeah, that is also possible. And there are tons of modules available on Ansible, and they all are available when you install Ansible for you.
Okay, so, but it's just that anything additional, if there's any, oh, so all modules are available when you install Ansible.
Yes.
Okay, 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 that answered my questions. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So, any questions on what is a module and how do we use it as ad hoc commands? Any questions here? No? Okay. So that means it makes sense now, right? All right. Just give me one moment. I'm going through my notes here, just looking for what I should cover next. Yep. Okay. So modules are done, right? We know what are modules. Now let's go back to our architecture here, right? And go back to the concepts of configuration management. And here I said, you have your configuration management tool, which is installed on a server, and then it manages your hosts and and the machines here. But you feed to it a configuration file, which is a file which has structured data, um, which defines the state of the infrastructure, right? How do you want your infrastructure to be? And that achieves the infrastructure as code part of our configuration management. Now, we have not created this file. We have just looked at some command that we are executing on the Ansible server, and which enables us to make changes on the server. Now, we could do that via shell as well, right? That's not a desired way to manage your infrastructure. You want to keep a state of your infrastructure as a piece of code, right? Now, these are called playbooks. In Ansible, you create playbooks to define the state of your infrastructure. So instead of running a module directly from the server, what you do is you create a different color here. You specify, now listen, you specify your desired state of your infrastructure by defining it in a playbook, right? So here you define, I want to use apt module to do this. I want to use yum module to do this, and blah, blah, blah. All right. So now let's take a look at playbooks, what playbooks does. Now, playbooks actually are your data files, or we can call them as manifests, which contains the state of your infrastructure. What you want your infrastructure to look like, right? So you can say that in my playbook, I want to specify that these packages should be available on this user should be available on these machines, and blah, blah, blah. Now, how do you define a playbook? How do you write a playbook? Well, the smallest or the lowest level of configuration that you can define in a playbook is done by defining a task. Okay, and a task consists of a name, right? The module that you want to use to achieve the tasks, and the attributes for that module, for that particular module, right? For example, you can say that there is a task to install finger package, right? Now, the module that I want to use is apt, and the parameters that I want to pass to that module is state is present, right? And name is finger, and also update cache true, right? So whatever we executed in the, sorry, not this window, in the ad hoc commands, all those attributes and module names are specified in a structured format. This becomes a task, right? This is a task. Now you can have multiple tasks in a playbook, right? So you can have another task called, for example, create user foo. And then I say I want to use module user, and then say state is present, and name of the user is foo. This becomes another task.
Hey viewers, our Mastery in DevOps engineering program can help you to hone the skills necessary to succeed in high-level DevOps positions. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll now and earn certification that show you are keeping pace with today's technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
So this becomes your state information. I want user foo should exist in my infrastructure, or package finger should be installed in my infrastructure, right? These all units of configuration are called task. So there is task 1, task 2, and then you specify where should the tasks be applied, right? So you specify on what hosts your task should be applied. So let's say you want to apply your tasks on all hosts, or Ubuntu, host underscore Ubuntu, or host underscore CentOS, right? You can specify the target hosts here. Okay, then you can give this entire thing a name. And you can say configure infra, right? And how do you configure infra? You run these tasks. Now this set of configuration is called a play. This is a play. A play consists of a set of tasks which are applied on hosts, some hosts. All right, and you can write multiple plays like this. So there could be play 1, play 2. So one play could be configure infrastructure, one play could be configure Ubuntu machines, another play could be configure CentOS machines, and all play can be written together in one single file. And this file, which contains multiple plays, is called a playbook. Okay, so a playbook contains multiple plays, and a play contains tasks, which are the lowest level of configuration that you can manage on your infrastructure. All right, now let's create a quick playbook before we go on to a break. Right, so I'm going to open my server here, and let's create a playbook file. Let's say first playbook. Now these playbooks are written in YAML, so you should be aware of YAML. Now for this session, you are not writing YAML, so you should be aware on how to read YAML. Okay, so question to you, do you know what is YAML and how do we write YAML files? Or how to read the YAML files? Okay, I can give a brief overview of YAML. All right. So YAML is a structure, or a how should I call it? It's a way to store structured data. Okay. Now we already know that there are some ways already to store structured data. For example, XML is a pretty old and pretty famous and robust way to store structured data, right? For example, you can say if you are maintaining details about someone, for example, let's say an example that I want to store all the details about myself in a data file, which should be parsable and readable, and it can be serialized by any other external reader. So I can store my data in XML format, right? I can say this is data of a person, so I can create a tag called person, right? And then I can say, okay, this person has a name, and name is Amit, right? And name closes, then ID. For example, this person has ID 01 and ID tag closes, and then it can have certifications, and then you can have for example CKA or certification 1. Cert 1 is certified Kubernetes application developer, and then cert 2 some other certification. For example, you can write RHCE, right? And you can create these tags and these data inputs to store the data. Now the problem with this XML format is that it's too much to write. The meaningful data is just this and this and this and this, but there is whole lot of tags and opening tags and closing tags and then syntax and all that. A lot of overhead here. So slowly people realize that they need much more modern data storage to store data, and then was born JSON, right? JavaScript object notion, and here you can specify your data. So you can say that this is a person, right? And in this person you specify that name is Amit, for example. Yeah, and then you can say that ID is 01, and that the certifications is equal to then one more, and then cert1 is equal to CKAD, right? Again, curly braces separated data store. Now again, these curly braces were a problem to people. They did not like to, nobody likes opening and closing, creating blocks for data. So then came another format called YAML. YAML stands for YAML ain't markup language, right? Or YAML is not markup language, and it stores data like this. You can say person, right? And then you say name.
Hey viewers, trying to get into DevSecOps? Enroll for our DevSecOps certified professional programs and earn the certification that shows you are fit for these technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
Is Amit. Pretty readable format. ID is 01, certs is CKAD, for example, CKA, and then any other detail, right? So you can see that, it's all meaningful data which is stored in a pretty consistent structured format, right? Now, YAML has a very strict syntax, okay? In XML and JSON, you could separate the data or identify which data is what by using these flower brackets or these curly brackets. In XML, the data is surrounded by tags. Now in YAML, there are no tags, there are no curly brackets. So the context of data is important. And that context is identified by indentation, right? Let me quickly write a YAML file here and show you. For example, you can say person, right? And name of the person is Amit, right? ID of the person is 01. Okay, age is, let's say, 45. That's not my actual age, by the way. And then you can say certifications, right? And then you can specify the certifications, right? So if any item is at the same indentation level, that means it belongs to the same parent, right? So name, ID, age, and the certifications all belong to person, right? And then you can add more persons. You can say person, another person here, name, let's say, and name could be Mantosh, for example, right? ID is 02, and then age, is, let's say, 99. Certifications, some certifications, right? So all these details are about this person. Okay, and then you can have couple of data types. One data type is a map, right? Name Amit, ID 01, age 45, right? You can say name is Amit in this double quotes to emphasize that this is a string, right? And then this is one data type which is called a map. Key value, key value, key value, right? Then there can be list data types. For example, certifications can have a list. Let's not type like this. Maybe I'll start with an easier way. CKAD, right? CKA, RHCSE, right? And let's say Docker certified associate. So these are the certificates which this person has. Now this is a list data type, right? Certification is a key and the data type is list. Okay, this is one of the ways to represent a data type. You can represent the lists. You can also represent it at with a much more different syntax. You can say CKAD, right, and say CKA, and say DevOps, whatever. So this is also one way to represent list. So certifications is the key and value is a list, right? Then there could be complex data types. For example, vehicles. You can say how many vehicles I own, right? Now vehicles is a list. So maybe I can have some cars and some two-wheelers. So I'll say cars, right? Vehicle has cars. So I can have some cars, right? And let's say one car is, let's say Ferrari. I own a Ferrari, right? I say name Ferrari and model number, model, which year was it born? So for example, 2015 model, right? And then one more car I own, let's say a Tata Nano. And model is, let's say 2014, right? So you can have a complex data type. So vehicle is a key and the value for that is again a data type, a complex data type. Now the key is cars and the data has list. So it's a list of another complex data type, so which has name and model, right? Another value in the list is name nano and model 2014, right? Then you can build up on such data types. Now you can see indentation is very important, right? So these lists belong to cars and the cars section belongs to vehicles and these vehicles belong to this person. Okay, this is how you write YAML.
Aren't spaces, sorry to interrupt, aren't spaces important too, like in YAML? Because between, like, you have to name emit your name and then your ID space 01.
Yes. So here you need to have one space after the colon and no spaces before the colon, right? This is also important. Yes, thanks for pointing it out. If you write it like this, yeah, your parser will fail and it will complain that value is not found. So spaces are also important, right? I really don't understand why do we require it. Life would be much better if there was no space here, but yeah, space are required as well. Yes.
Did you talk about because with person in YAML, like the space is important, but from the name, do we have to put like that indentation? Do we have to? Is it 2 spaces for each indentation? Because
okay, so here you can have any characters here, any white characters for indentation, right? So the standard is 2, The acceptable standard is 2 spaces,
Mhm.
but the key is that you have to have the same indentation for all subsequent same values, right? Same
Mhm.
level
Okay.
values. So you can end up just giving 1 space here. That is also fine,
Okay. Okay,
right?
that makes sense.
These all should be at the same indentation level, right? You could also use tabs. Yeah, but now tabs are frowned upon, right, in the tech industries, but you can use tabs also. That will also work.
Between the dashes, like in dash name, do you have an indentation there, or just a space?
It's just 1 space. It's
Okay.
just one.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so you can watch some quick YouTube videos to know about YAML, right? It can get pretty complicated and it can be really fun. Like for example, for multi-line characters and things like that. So read more about it, right? I don't want to invest more time on YAML here. Let's concentrate on Ansible. Okay, so this is how you write your YAML, right? And all the playbooks and complete Ansible these configuration files or manifests, which are playbooks, are written in YAML. All right. So I have some notes somewhere. I'll just pull them out so that I can use the examples pretty quickly. Just give me 1 sec. Yeah. Okay. So let's say I want to create a YAML file, or I want to create a playbook. And in this playbook, we want to create a user on all our hosts and install a package on our CentOS machine.
Thanks for watching. Want to study further? Join our training programs today.